Down, cause failing's not an option and dad is not a noun, not at all.
Love that. Let's talk about patience. And you got a Kickstarter that just started, Patheon. I'm gonna bring it up right now. Let's see. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful. But talk about Patheon. What's break down what Patheon is all about.
So Patheon is a story of, yeah, let's start with the cliche, an alien from another planet who's the story here is a little bit different. How I like to describe the main character of Patheon is, think of General Zod if he were a good guy,
right,
and he was a brother. That's kind of what this is, and this is a character who's had a crisis of conscience. What happened to him? He's a very, very proud individual. He's he's proud of his people, who he is as a. In this story, I call them the Demosians. He's a very proud Demosian. He loves his people. He loves his culture. He loves everything. He was a soldier, and they're a race of conquerors. They conquer a lot of parts of the universe, different galaxies and things like that. So they rule or have conquered very vast sectors of the planet, or of their systems in various locations. They had a conquest. They worked to conquer Earth. And how they are, I call it, the way they do it, I call it passive conquerors. Their conquering comes in two phases. One is pretty much going down to the planet, sowing discontent in the best way possible, making things where actually the page that you're scrolling down now is kind of like that page where he's leading to the concilium there about the situation and the changes that he wants to make, and things of that nature. So he wants to change the perception of his people to everyone. He wants the Demosians to go away from their pattern and being more universe and being contributors in a good way. Right. Because he sees and feels that the path that they're going is only going to lead to their ultimate demise at the end of the day. So the story is about him trying to do that and living up to a self-imposed. And to do this, he's decided to do a self-imposed exile to Earth and fulfill his own personal life debt to protect Earth. So
I like that.
that is what he's decided to do, and his mission is to protect the people on Earth. You know, find and take away all the things that was going to do damage during that first phase. That's on purpose. And as you get into the story, you know, you'll understand what that is. But there's going to be underlying all that. There's a lot of things that he's going to have to come to terms with, and find once he finds out, you know, what kind of people that people are, and the decision that he's going to need to make down the line. So, yeah, I mean, we got superpowers. I think it's pretty unique in the way they come out. It's a little different. I did not want to have a cliche superhero story. It seems like every story that I have read when it comes to Earth, he gets powers, he already knows. I didn't want that. I don't go into that heavily, but there's definitely a second issue that I just finished writing, where you'll see that he's encountered some different being from another planet. Aliens should have being here on this planet, in my eyes. So we see that, and you know, the people he makes friends with, and you know, it's a lot going on. But I'm proud of it. I'm working hard. Like I said, I just finished the second issue script. I'm walking away from it for a week, and then I'll come back to it next week, looking at it with fresh eyes and edits and things necessary. I have a tendency to be writer, so that was a huge challenge for the first issue. I'm gonna warn y'all right now. First issue's wordy, and I cut a lot of fat off of it initially, and it's still a little wordy, but it's necessary. I'm telling a story, and I thought the exposition could do the heavy lifting for the couple issues. And but as soon as you get past that, it's gonna start moving. And this story is about Patheon. His name is Vassell. That's his alien name. On Earth, he adopts the name Cedric Vaughn. That is his Earth name. And he becomes an archaeologist. He lands on Earth and observes Earth for a total of 15 years before he even makes his presence known.
Wow.
So again, that's one of the things that I wanted to change, because it's just like they get here, they do everything. I'm here, and it's like, bro, what did you have? You know, what did you learn? What did you do? So I go into that. The second issue kind of goes into that more. You know, so the reader is essentially on this. They're observers. They're a fly on the wall. It's Patheon's journey and what he's doing. He's kind of telling the writer, "Hey, this is what was going on. This is what I'm thinking." When it's narration, it's about his thoughts and what he's going through as he's going through this path of redemption that he's on. And so, as the story continues through this particular arc, you're going to see the change in how he views humans and humankind. The biggest thing, and I will say, Earth is not his home, and it never will be.
Right.
A lot of these characters you see, Earth is now my new home. No, I'm a Demosian first, period. Right. You know, I'm going to protect y'all. I'm here for you.
Right.
You're on loan, but I'm Demosian. That. So that's going to be the kind of the big difference. So he's always going to have, you're going to see in his personality a little bit of a disconnect with him,
yeah,
you know, based on his thinking of how he views himself,
right,
and all these things. So we'll see. You know, people will get to see that change over time. We'll get to help him to kind of change his perspective on a lot of things,
right.
All of that. So I'm really hoping I have a story that everyone will enjoy seeing and reading,
right.
And that will be kind of refreshing. There is no agenda. in my story. I am strictly telling a story, and I want to tell it. There's going to be no political angle. There's going to be no slant. Of course, it'll have a little lessons. Small stories have that.
Right.
But there is no political angle. There is no, woke angle. What I wanted to do was create a character that I could identify with, others that are Black like me can identify with by sight, can see, oh man, that's a Black superhero. Okay, cool. That's not a cliche. It's not a stereotype. And that is dope. And like I said, you're going on a journey telling a story. I'm not tackling social issues. I'm not tackling none. If anything, it's human issues, just things that we all deal with.
Yeah.
So, I just want to tell good stories. And Patheon was that project where, as an artist, I wanted to have a body of work to show part of my artistic legacy. Comic books have always been my love since I was 7 years old. So, seeing other superheroes like, Superman, Batman, more recently, All Might.
Yeah.
By the way, who's way better than Superman, by the way. That's a whole nother conversation. Superman's still my boy, but All Might, that's a superhero right there. Anyway, I ain't gonna get into it because I could go for hours. Anyway, but seeing heroes like that, great, amazing stories, at least as far as DC is concerned. Some past stories have been great. Seeing manga, getting into manga and doing that, seeing things like My Hero Academia, which to me is one of the greatest superhero stories ever written. But they don't. I don't see no Black folk around. And I'm not trying to make it to where, and again, it's not for me to make it where it's like, oh, Black people representation, raw, black all day, black all day. It's just he don't look like me. I always get excited about, when I saw John Stewart. I was like, hey, what you got? Now you got a John Stewart story and the story's trash. Guess what? I don't care about no John Stewart. Or the writer don't know how to write about him or whatever.
Right. And I think one of the key things too, bro, to be honest with you, is I think I talked to someone before. When you get into that type of story, especially when you get into like Japanese anime and different stories, the beauty of those stories, you see the evolution of a character.
Yes.
Like here in America, you don't see the evolution or the change of Superman. For example, like if you think about, for example, the Dragon Ball Z series, right? You see the evolution of Goku. Every character changes in every storyline.
Right.
In America, you don't see that.
No, not at all.
Like for example, like one of the oldest cartoons, like one of the longest cartoons, like The Simpsons, right?
Yeah.
Like one of the longest running cartoons ever in American history. But you don't see like the changes of the characters.
Bart,
you don't see
Bart 11 years old for 30 years. I mean, come on. That's one thing that I revere. Honestly, I revere the Japanese or just Eastern stories, mangas in general, for their storytelling capability alone. They know how to tell a sneaking story, and it has nothing to do, and they're able to tell a great story that has nothing to do with their race, has nothing to do with political agenda or anything, unless the manga is not directly about them.
Right.
But they know how to just tell a story.
Right. And yeah, definitely. And you grow old with the character.
Yeah. You grow with the character. And I think, and that's the important thing. And when I made Patheon, as I'm writing Patheon, that's the journey that I want the readers to go on. I want them to grow with Patheon as he's on this journey of redemption. He's trying his best to change the perception of, first off, aliens are out there, and he's doing all these things, but he's got his own demons that he's got to worry about. He's got his own hang-ups that he's got to get over and learn. So he's got to learn humility. He's got to learn kindness. He's got to learn a variety of things, and I want the reader to go along with that, to be along for the ride with that, and at the same time have entertaining action, telling a cool story, introducing new characters that you also, even though they might not be a full part of the story the whole time, but when they're introduced, you're like, dang, that character was dope. Whoever that was, you know what I mean? But the story is focused on Vassell. There's going to be a character that, people will be introduced to in the sixth issue at the end of the arc, who they'll see. And she's somebody that, people will, I hope, will gravitate to and enjoy as well. But I just want to tell a good story, dude. And I want to have a cohesive, very solid, cohesive body of work that really, that just got some meat that's worth something. That's not too convoluted and crazy, but simple enough to where kids can read it and enjoy it, and adults can read it and enjoy it. That's cool,
Right.
I don't expect him to be one of the big dogs, but if he ends up being that way, the fans decided.
There you go.
Cool. Who knows what can happen in the future? You with me in the shape in regards to that. So I'll just say, who knows what can happen in the future if the fans like it. But right now, my biggest thing right now is completing the story and getting it into as many hands as I possibly can, and see what I come up with. I have a lot of stories I would love to tell. I at least want to tell one of them, and this one is that right now. And it's a challenge for me, too, to see if I can do it. This is my first attempt at doing the full story arc issue series where, you're doing this. So it's a challenge for myself, too. This is the furthest I've ever gone in attempting this. So it's going well. The Kickstarter it's a bit nerve-wracking, but instead of just focusing on that, because a lot of independent creators will do the issue, finish it up, and then do the Kickstarter, and then following the Kickstarter, and not do any other work until all of that is done. I get that to an extent, but for me, I started to immediately write. After a week, I decided to write the second issue to keep myself occupied and to keep the momentum going. Because for me, and I know myself, slows down. My name is Procrastinator McGillicuddy, dog. Like I will hold it off, and I will. Oh well, let me do this. I'll let life get in the way. And I've had too many false starts, I'm not allowing that. Now that I've got this, that will allow me to do it. I'm not going to squander it. Right. So yeah, I'm working very hard on this, and I'm just really hoping that it will inspire. My biggest thing, if I wanted to say I want to inspire anything, it's to inspire people to create their own.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to inspire other people to create. If you've had the desire to create something of your own, I'm hoping that what I bring to the table inspire you guys to do it too.
And I think you're on the right path, because then you, as a father, as a stepdad, you're leading by example. And so you're showing them, like, you know what, you can do it. You know, we live in this technology world where everything is here.
Yeah.
So you just have to come with a concept, an idea, and just make it happen. And no matter what, you can't be afraid to fail. Because failure is a great learning lesson, you know. And I tell a lot of people, you can't be afraid to fail, you know.
Yeah.
And so what I love what you're doing is that you're always evolving. And the next time we'll have a conversation, it's going to be, hey, I'm going to make an animation of it. So you know, that's the next conversation I'm going to have with you the next time we're on the show, is that this is what's going to happen.
Mhm.
Because I think what you have going on right now, I think is awesome. And I think what's dope about this story is, I know you're not going to bring it up, but I think from what I've read from the bio and everything like that, it's going to bring up that question about assimilation
Mhm.
character. Because again, he's on Earth for what, 15 years? And for him to not lose who he is, just to be a part of a world that he know that he's really not a part of the world. He's
Right.
just there because he's just observing.
Mhm.
But at the same time, as he's observing, he's being not being he's sort of a little bit being attached to the world, because he starts creating these emotions and these feelings. But I don't want to get into it because I don't want, because
Yeah.
I'm just going
Yeah.
off this story.
Yeah.
I'm just going off the synopsis a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it because I don't know, but I'm just reading, and I'm a type of person that digs deep into what I read.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing about it, without giving too much about it. Because again, I don't know anything. I'm just reading
Yeah.
everything from the Kickstarter.
Nah, of
But I
course.
think that's the beauty of this story, is like, often we don't do that in comic books, especially when you have characters of color. Like,
Yeah. No.
we're afraid to have that conversation about the pros and cons of assimilation. And so I think in this story, you try to do that without being kind of over overt. It's like
Mm.
subtle. It's like crumbs. It's like I'm crumbs, little crumbs here and
Right.
there.
Right.
And if you're really reading it, you'll pick it up.
Right. Yeah. That is a major thing. Not. It is definitely an undertone. Yeah, it is an undertone that is there. Like I said, he's proud of who he is. He's proud of what he is. He's not ashamed of it. He may be ashamed of the things that his people have done, but he's not ashamed of his people as a whole, and he never will be. You know, and he's going to keep a part of himself as that the entire time. Like I was telling you about, Superman. They're like, oh, well, Earth is my home now, and he goes, and when Kryptonians come to Earth, he's mopping up his own people. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, it's like, okay, Zod, you bad dude, but it's like, come on, bro, like let's come with a dialogue. Try to, look, okay, you want to change Earth? Look, I've been here for a minute now. Okay, you can't just come up in here and change everybody. Kryptonians don't work that way, but. If we could come to an agreement, you know what I'm saying? Another Kryptonian come out of nowhere, and he just mopping up Kryptonians left and right.
Yeah.
So people have a bad perception of Kryptonians.
Yeah.
And Superman's the exception to the rule only because he's verbally said, Earth is my home now. Pretty much absolving himself from Krypton.
Yeah.
And from his heritage.
Yeah.
It's like, dang. Bruh. And Superman's my boy. Like, I love Superman, okay? But real talk, that's what it is.
Yeah.
He's doing what he can, because to him, if he doesn't assimilate and become what they want him to be, he feels that he can't protect them the way he wants to protect them.
That's
but is that so? My story is going to explore that doesn't always have to be the case. It doesn't always have to be the case. Like we were talking earlier off camera. You can love somebody, but you ain't got to like them all the time. Kind of same thing with him. he likes Earthlings, but he likes them. You know, he loves them, but wants to do enough to take care of them.
Right.
He ain't got to have that attack. Yeah. There's a lot of things in life where we are surrounded by certain things and certain systems and certain environments, and we might not like it. We don't want to be a part of it, but there's some times in life where we've got to use it to the full if it helps to our advantage, which the cell definitely does.
Yeah.
Look, last point, I ain't gonna say nothing else about the story, but he becomes an archaeologist as a cover to recover the artifacts that his people had left behind. He becomes an archaeologist, so he gets educated in Earth's history because, okay, see,
don't give too much. No.
Yeah. But there's a reason why he becomes an archaeologist, and for him, it's a perfect. For me, I was like, that's a perfect occupation for him to have. That's how he amasses his riches. That's how he becomes who he is, how he needs to be. So, again, it's different. It's different, and that undertone, I feel, stays the same. So he uses what he needs to from the place where he's at. That's where he is for the rest of his life, is Earth. He's in his self-imposed exile. That is where he is. But it is never, ever going to be his in his mind and in his heart, his true home. Yeah. That is never his true culture. His culture and his home is Demos 9 and being proud to be a Demosian and who he is. And so the second story arc that I've already got planned out in my mind delves a little further into that and the evolution of the story and those who he meets and gets along with too. But yeah, that is an underlying thing. So you king guy, you.
Yeah, no, I can't help myself. I'm just like that.
You good.
But I think it's dope, and I think that's important that we have that conversation, especially in stories, and I think that's vital. What am I? I just went blank. All right, because I'm just so enriched in this conversation. What's next? What's next? I know you got the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Like, do you have anything else going on?
Yeah. So
from just this story alone.
So going back to Kickstarter real quick, just to let you guys know, you're pretty much pre-ordering the book. This book is finished. It's completed. Art's done. Everything is done. So what you're doing when you place the Kickstarter, you're pretty much just pre-ordering the book. And that's how I'm going to run all my Kickstarters. You're not going to be contributing to something that hasn't been started yet. It's going to be a finished product so that that once it's off the press, it's being sent right to you.
Nice.
No ifs, ands, or buts. I know that's been a problem with Kickstarter. That's a little fishy. People raise money to start a project, don't start the project, take 18 years to come out with, if at all. People thinking the money got took. I was not going to be in that camp. So it was important to me to finish what I was doing before I put it up on Kickstarter so that I'm offering an actual product, not a concept. I don't want people paying for a concept. Right. So there's that, first off. There is, after this first story arc is complete, there are 6 issues, 6 stories in this particular arc. There is a secondary arc that is brewing around in my mind as well. I know there's 2 so far. I am the type of person who likes to tell a story and then I will leave it open-ended. But able to so for 2, and I do that for 2 reasons. One, for the reader after they've read a story to be like to kind of come up with their own ideas of maybe what these characters may do, could do, will do, whatever. But also 2, if say something were to happen, we're like, oh my God, we love this character.
Right.
We want to adapt this into a film, or we want to put this on animated, or we want to do this. You can either adapt what's already there, or you could start from the end of the second arc and create stories further on there. You know, so, but as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm telling the story, the main story that I want to tell, I'm that type to tell a story, and that's it. Let's move on to something new. So as far as Patheon, there's that. There is a one shot that I'm probably going to start working on after I finish the first arc, kind of as a like a rest, like an in-between type of thing. It's going to be a comic book as well, like a one-shot story. I want to see how people will receive that. So I need to watch a lot of samurai movies and read a lot of Mouse Guard and read a lot of, I don't know if you've heard of Mouse Guard, but read a lot of that. And it's about a little mouse who is a lone warrior who's come from a rich family, but has taken his life of riches to a life to protect people. So he's like that. What you call leads a life kind of like a samurai.
Okay,
It'll be kind of like a kung fu type of thing, anthropomorphic type story. His name is Mamoru. So it's going to be a manga as well, manga style. So that's something that's brewing. That story is kind of brewing in my head as far as what I want that to be. But I'm feeling like after I'm done with the first arc of Patheon, that's what I'll do is like my break to kind of get Patheon out the head,
right?
Well, promote that, see what people think, and then when I'm done with that, start working on that second arc of Patheon. Patheon is like that project,
right? That's the baby. That's like your Star Wars.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that's the baby. My wife said, "Oh, is that your opus?" I'm like, "No, that's not my opus. I have another story that's my opus."
Let's save that. Don't tell the people.
No, this is a story that I've been working on since I want to say in high school.
Yeah, don't tell the people. Just like when you get it ready and ready to go, then let the people know. But
here's the thing. I attempted it once.
Okay.
It didn't work out. It didn't take. My resources were scanty. It just didn't work.
Okay.
But this time, and like I said, when I'm done with Patheon and know that I can do this, I think it'll be more appropriate to gain the network connections and gain all the resources that I want to. If time allows, if circumstances allow, then I may be confident enough to bring that story to life and tell that story. That story will be my opus. So anyway, like I said, I got a lot of stories, man. I got a lot of stories brewing around in my head, man.
Whoa, man. I'm amazed. I'm amazed, man. I'm excited about those stories. I'm just excited about the future. Like, is there anything else going on?
Yeah. So one thing I have a new podcast.
Okay.
I have two podcasts technically. Okay. Anybody? I don't know if anybody's listened before. I'm the host of the Stuff podcast show. I'm really debating as to whether or not I'm kind of going through a life thing, is debating whether or not to bring that back or not. Okay. But what I am actively working on is a podcast called this Chillin' Sketch podcast.
Okay.
Chillin' Sketch podcast is where I'm kind of just like you, bruh. I got I'm either by myself and I'm sharing art tips, or I'm sharing tips on the industry and how to do certain things. So like the last one that I just put up actually is out today, is on comic script writing. I actually went over Patheon 1. It had the script on there. It's on video, and it's also on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Because I go live with it, and then it's also on Spotify to listen to as well. Right. So, but that's talking about the comic script writing, and I went over Patheon and actually wrote a page live theirs and let them. So there's going to be some awkward silences sometimes, and I was like, man, I need to cut that out. That's weird, awkward silence. I'm like, you know what? No, I'm gonna leave it in because I want them to be there, and I want them to hear everything that's going on in my brain while I'm talking to myself. For them, so one, they know that's normal. Number two, you know, so that they can understand what that creative process is, and what that looks like. So I kept all that in. And in normal podcast fashion, it's probably bad form, but I don't care. It's my podcast. So I go over that. I share some tips and tricks and tools that I use to create my scripts, things like that. It's going to be a show where I'm going to also be where I've already interviewed 2 artists. Tariq, next week's episode is going to be Tariq, DJ Holmes, Holmes from who's a creator of Atlas.
Okay.
He's an independent comic creator, also another brother too. He's created some cool work.
Okay.
His podcast, his comic is dope. So I talked to him, you know, get to know him, talk to him about his process, how he did all that. So the artists can see other artists doing the same thing.
Yes.
And then branched off from that podcast is the Pretty Much Chillin' Sketch magazine. Yeah. Which is a digital magazine, which I call Illustrata.
Nice. I like that.
And Illustrata is going to be a magazine where I will do interviews with podcasters, comic book creators, and have drawing tutorials and lessons for folks. I don't know if you remember Wizard Magazine.
Yes, I did.
At the drawing corner in there.
Yes, I do remember.
I want to bring that back, sir. That was one of my favorite things in Wizard, man. Aside from the pages I was going to tear out and put on my wall, that drawing part, dog.
Fire.
Oh, I missed that. I'm going to bring that back with Illustrator. I want to try to get some other artists that be willing to put some content in and be like, hey, you want to do a tutorial? Do on a magazine? And so Illustrator will be that. I'm also going to have Kickstarters from other indie creators.
Okay.
That can actually pay to put advertising their Kickstarter in the magazine for that month.
Okay.
And so, you know, if they have because pre-campaign is very important. That's one step I forgot about. But Illustrata will be a magazine where they can put their pre-campaign information in, and it'll pretty much literally be a section of, hey, Kickstarters to look out for.
Awesome.
The indie comic creating side or the podcasting side or whatever.
I like that.
Check this out.
Nice.
Also, too, for patrons. Now, Patreon, I'm thinking about that. That'll probably run a little different because it's like, I'm helping you bring people to put money in your pocket. So at least a one-time something.
Yes.
So, you know, one-time something to be like, we're getting the most.
Yeah.
But, you know, I still think it's important for independent creators to have a legitimate platform.
Yes.
To be able to show off what they're creating and to talk about it. Yes. So the articles in Illustrata are going to be about that. What they do, podcasters, what they're doing, creators, all the things that they're doing. Yeah. And having drawing tutorials and all that stuff. I just, you know, good, cool tools for them to use when they're drawing. What's some good drawing tools, you know, traditional tools, whatever. Yeah. I want to talk about all of that. So the plan is to have that magazine probably be, I'm debating, it's probably be like a quarterly magazine or semi-quarterly. Okay. No, either I'm deciding if I'm going to have it come out every 2 months or every 3 months.
Right.
And especially for the reason for the Kickstarter folks, that could be something that they'll still have as a guide to be like, okay, I'm going to make sure I watch this Kickstarter and I'll have the links go there.
Right.
Do all that. And the way I'm going towards that is more of an interactive PDF magazine, digital magazine. So when they get it, they can click on the links, and those links go right to those Kickstarters.
Yes.
Those links will take them directly to websites, all that, so that everybody who looks at this magazine can go right there and support in any way they see fit. You know, so. That's the plan for Illustrata. I had a date set for November, actually, of last year. That did not happen because I started work on Patheon.
Yeah.
I said, I want to do this first.
Right.
So I've been working on Patheon, but that date will be announced. I have a Patreon also. So anybody that wants to support that. But there is actually an Illustrata tier. That's more of
Okay.
Patreon is more of an art club, though.
Yes.
Every month you get stickers and you get a special size print, either digitally sent to you so you can print it on your own,
Right.
or a physical print of my artwork for that month sent to you in the mail. The 5x7. If you go another tier, it's a little bit bigger.
Right.
But you get a little something
Nice.
every month for that. So again, it's patreon.com/IDWalkerArt, and all that. So, and I'm gonna go. I stream now, pretty regularly. I need to set a definite schedule for myself for that and stick to it. But yeah, I'm on Twitch. I use StreamYard too, actually, which is StreamYard's wonderful. First off,
I told you that.
All simultaneous, man. So I'll be on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook all at the same time, just giving the gems, dropping the gems, bro.
Yes.
So yeah, all of those. That's where I'm at. So I got a lot going on, and I'm really my comic book studio is called Obsidian Studios. So I am trying to have the Obsidian Empire rise once again, bro. and enjoy the arts, and hope you guys enjoy great stories and all that.
I'm just excited about your Kickstarter. I'm excited about everything you're doing. I'm just excited that you're in a better place, mentally, emotionally, and just seeing you today. Just seeing that, you have a glow to you. That's the most important thing. You know what I mean? All the information that he just broke down, how you're gonna find him, is going to be in the description below. Ian, brother, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. I'm just excited what the future holds for you, as an artist, as a father, as a husband, just a genuine human being. I'm just excited for the future that is coming your way. Before we end this amazing conversation, do you have any words of wisdom or affirmation you want to let people know?
Patience. and whatever it is that you're doing, patience. Enjoy the journey and make mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, you're not doing it right. Because mistakes are the only way you're going to learn and get better and grow. But my biggest thing is patience, and patience is a never-ending learning skill. So don't think, oh, I got patience. Nah, that's a forever skill that you're going to learn forever. Because you think you got it mastered in one area, you're going to have to learn patience in another. So patience. For you creators out there, do not try to rush to try to beat the next guy. Don't worry about anybody else. Worry about yourself. Enjoy your journey, okay? And embrace the journey. Like I say, patience.
All right, man, and definitely embrace this conversation with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
this has been another amazing conversation on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me on again, bro. I appreciate it. That you had me pop on, came out of nowhere. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, what? You on the show? Okay. So that was a pleasant surprise, man. I appreciate you.
No, man,
finding me worthy enough to be on the show again, bro. I appreciate it.
Man, I just feel worthy that you accepted it and we made it happen. And hopefully that helps this podcast help some way of reaching your goal. Because I want to see this into print. Often people talk about we need more stories that reflect us. I have someone that's doing that. So, put your money where your mouth is. If you want to see more like this, support stuff that Ian's doing. And that's how it works. Because if you don't, put your money where your mouth is, then it doesn't happen.
Bruh, that's why I want to say this real quick. Yes, put your money where your mouth is. You guys got friends out there that's creating something. I'm telling you this from another career standpoint. Even Ishmael, this applies to you too as a podcaster. You got friends that say they are supporting you and all that. It don't always got to be monetary, but make sure if you guys are out there saying, "Hey, yeah, I know this person, yeah, it is," if you're talking about them, you better be supporting them. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna say it because a lot of people don't want to be like, "Oh, you're gonna alienate people from doing because you seem a little rough." Nah, don't just talk, because if something happens where they make it or whatever, the one thing a creator's always going to remember are the people that put their money where their mouth was and supported them. Whether it was sharing it on their stories on social media, whether it was telling their friends, whether it was actually giving physical donations for whatever they were working on. And we'll remember you. Okay. So that's more clout than anything. So please support your creators that are doing these things. They're putting this out for you.
Yeah.
They're trying to give you that gift of their experience, their time, their passion, and their desire. Support it. Help them out. Help them realize their dreams, please.
Yeah, please. Definitely, man. And we're gonna end it like that. Again, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we're out.